This video's topic is the strengths and weaknesses of traditional martial arts. Now, some of the strengths of traditional martial arts. One strength is that most traditional martial arts were developed very simply to protect people from very real threats of violence. They weren't developed for competition, so the techniques aren't catering for using safety equipment or rules or certain things being allowed and not allowed or anything like that. They were developed for the no rules, down and dirty situation of someone really trying to harm you and how best to defend yourself and protect against that. So traditional martial arts often have great techniques, great methods for truly effective self-defense. Along the same lines as this is traditional martial arts often are well suited to dealing with weapons. Not guns always, although some things within them may be suitable for dealing with guns, because those generally weren't a threat at the time that the martial arts were developed. But certainly they often have great ways of dealing with things like poles, sticks, knives, swords, but those sorts of handheld weapons that could be used against someone. So not only are their techniques good for an unarmed combatant, but someone armed with a weapon other than a gun, they'll usually be very good at dealing with as well. Another benefit of traditional martial arts is because the threat of violence was so real, and because the consequence of that violence was so severe, the martial arts would train people and aim for them to achieve a very high level of physical skill and development. And so they developed sophisticated ways of developing the body. And so their training practices contain very deep principles that can help you to develop great skill with your body, but also a great understanding of your body and how it functions. Also, traditional martial arts tend to have a recognition of the importance of the mind and how that affects our functioning. And so there's often some emphasis or some facet which focuses on developing inner harmony and peacefulness within the mind. And so the lessons that you learn in this regard can help you to function better physically and can also carry across into other aspects of your life and help you to have that inner harmony in other areas of your life as well. So those are some of the strengths and benefits that you get from traditional martial arts. What are some of the weaknesses? Well, one of the classic weaknesses that people run into is that traditional martial arts often take a long time to learn. And this is because they teach quite complex things often to help protect against that real violence. And that complexity takes time to master and be good enough to use effectively. So one of the challenges that students have is that it can seem like they're not progressing very fast, or they can become a bit lost in the complexity. And so they actually may not be very good at defending themselves initially until they've trained long enough to master that complexity and use it effectively. So that is a weakness, or can be a weakness, in training at traditional martial arts. Another weakness can be that times change and our situation changes. It's not so often now that you're going to be attacked by someone carrying a sword or something like that, and you're often not going to have to deal with someone wearing armour and similar. And so some of the training methods and some of the techniques may not be entirely relevant anymore to our day. And so students can sometimes practice techniques, and if they don't understand fully why the technique is done the way it is, they may practice it in a way that's not actually useful to their current situation. So let's see, what are some other weaknesses? Okay, one more weakness. Sometimes the very effectiveness of the techniques that students learn and the effectiveness at potentially harming their opponents so that they won't be able to continue to attack them means that the student is almost scared to use that type of technique against someone. Or again, that very effectiveness of the techniques can mean that they find it difficult to train those techniques safely so that they can gain a full understanding of how they work against a real opponent as well. So those are some of the weaknesses of traditional martial arts. But I think they're weaknesses that can all be overcome, and it really depends on finding a school that trains those traditional martial arts in a way that focuses towards a modern student and our modern environment. Finding a school that respects the traditions of the past and respects the lessons to be learned, and then takes those and applies it to the current situation. A school that can take complex things and make them simple enough for you to use straight away, recognizing that you will progress step by step and be able to use more and more of what you learn as you progress, but teaches you the simple things that will make you good at protecting yourself straight away and allow you to develop and grow into some of the more sophisticated principles. Also, finding a school that has a really good bunch of experienced students who can show you how to practice techniques safely against each other so you can come to truly understand them. And finally, to help with the patience, finding a school that has a well-structured syllabus that will help you to see the progress that you're making along the way, help you to learn the basics quickly so that you can protect yourself if that's one of the reasons why you're learning the martial art, but then help you to progress into some of the deeper knowledge, some of the more complex things, and give you good structure to help you to make that progress and realize that you truly are making progress. It's really easy when you have a really high goal or expectation to get lost somewhere between here and there and sort of feel like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere, where in fact you are. And a well-structured syllabus can help you to see that progress and know that you are progressing towards that goal. Now, I think we have all those things at Long White Cloud Kung Fu. I hope my students agree. You may have other thoughts also about what some of the strengths or weaknesses of traditional martial arts are. So if you do, by all means, please leave comments below. It'd be great to hear from you.